Alright, what's up traders? Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. Thanks everyone for joining this stream tonight, and what you're about to see here is the high time frame complete analysis on Bitcoin, where I think it's going to go in the next couple of days or weeks, and what's the breakout levels and what's the breakdown levels. So this is from the stream, so I made a complete separate video of the high time frame Bitcoin analysis for you guys from the stream. Alright, enjoy guys, take care. I'm actually going to record this because I'm probably going to upload a separate video with this high time frame analysis. So I'll do this live for you guys, and then I'm going to upload this high time frame analysis on Bitcoin later to the channel as a separate video. So let's start off by looking at the weekly chart, and we're gonna do it like this, right? We're gonna start off by looking at the weekly. We're gonna go down into the daily, and we're then gonna go down into 4 hour where we are now. So we're gonna pick up where we're leaving right now. But first off, we're gonna take a look at the weekly here. So this is a quite clean chart for Bitcoin right here, and we got this trend line right here. I've got this trend line drawn from, by using this high here. This is the all-time high, right? Down to the most recent, well, I don't know what to call it, but this is the high at around 14k. This is the high of this bull run that we had here, right? So this was the high before the down move. So, obviously very important level. And you will notice that we actually hit this trend line right here. And this area right here is also confluent with the short RLC. Now the RLC is the area between the 618 and the 786 Fibonacci retracement level. If you apply the default settings here, you will see where I got the lines drawn, like from the high up here to the low down here. Apply the RLC again, and as you can see, we have a quite clear, strong high time frame resistance on the weekly right here between around 9.8, 10.5. So between, let's just say 10. Let's just say 10, between 10k and 10.5k, we have very strong high time frame resistance, and 10k is also confluent with the 618, the golden ratio, the golden pocket of the fib levels, right? Very important level, very strong level, very strong support, right? Resistance, obviously. So looking at the weekly here, this level has already been touched 3 times, right? So I'm going to view this as 1 touch, 2 touch, and this whole area I'm going to view as 3rd touch. If you go down into the daily, you will obviously see that it's been touched way more times like that, but I'm viewing this whole area as 1 touch because it's so obvious on the weekly that this is a possible swing high. Just like we had a swing high here, we got a swing high here. This is by the way just a textbook bearish break in market structure. Uptrend, breaking the the last low, creating lower highs and higher lows. Textbook breaking market structure. So if you want to learn more about trends and how to identify an uptrend, and how to identify downtrend, and how to identify a break in market structure, and what I mean by that is identifying a break in trend. So when does the bullish trend turn bearish? This area between the let's say the 5th of February 2020 to around the 18th of February 2020 on the Bitcoin chart is a perfect example of what to look for in a possible trend reversal. Where were I? Alright, so we were talking about the higher time frames, we were talking about the weekly, right? So on the weekly, it's hard for me to be really, bullish BTS USDT. Yeah, I'm gonna do a list here with the requests. We got BTS USDT. It's really hard for me to be super bullish on the higher time frames because for 2 simple reasons, right? The weekly trend is down, right? That's the first one. And second, we're at high time frame resistance. So if the higher time frames are down and you're hitting high time frame resistance, I mean, you gotta be high time frame bearish, right? Yes, that's just in my opinion, right? And if you're adding the moving averages here, if you go down to the daily and you're adding the moving averages here, first of all, you will see that we're trading inside a range here. So with this being resistance and this being support down here, it's not only range low. I mean, it's not only range low, it's also a very strong... What's up, man? Welcome to stream. Hope you're doing well. This is not only a support level. This is also the range low, right? This is, you know, the support level, something like that. It's not really perfect, but something like that, right? So you're trading between high time frame resistance and support, where I think the resistance is much stronger than the support. There's much stronger resistance on the way up than there is support on the way down. And how I judge that is number of touches and the violent reactions to actual touches, right? So you hear that you know, get very violent reactions every time you touch that level. So it's indicating that the level is very strong. And you're now creating a range here on the daily. So there's been a couple of range inside this whole time frame, and we got a range. Now you could say that this is a range, this is a range, and this is a range, right? And every time you break out of this range, you have powerful moves, right? Here you broke out of the range to the upside, created a bull market. You had a fake out to the downside, broke above, and you know, just a massive move, right? And now we're trading inside a new range. So this is really like, we can continue to range inside this daily range for quite some time. Like, it's been it's already been quite a long time, so I'm thinking we should see a quite powerful move, and the range is just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. You can really see that here you have the high and the low, and the next high and low has a smaller move. Here's a smaller move, and just every move just gets smaller and smaller, and it's just getting tighter and tighter, and this is just primed for a breakout, right? The next breakout, if you break out to the upside, you're going to hit resistance right here. Break down to the downside, you're going to hit support down here. Now, the support down here is the level between 8,500 and 8,600. The range high, the resistance above here is 10K. So if you have a violent move, you're trading right at the range EQ, which is the middle of the range. So you're trading inside the middle of the range on the daily. If you have a powerful move here, in either direction, I think it's if we're going up, we're going to hit 10K. If we go down, we're going to hit 8.5 to 8.6K. All right, so hopefully you're following me at this far, right? So just to recap, powerful move to the downside, and we will hit 8.5 to 8.6, which is range low. Powerful move to the upside, and we're going to hit 10K. Now, if that happens, right? So if that happens, if we get that powerful move to the downside or to the upside, it's very, very important. If you are a Bitcoin bull, it's crucial that you break 10K to the upside if we are going to start a new bull market. Why? Well, because now this trend line is confluent with the range high. We got the 618, we got this high time frame resistance. Everything's lining up here now. Everything's lining up in the 10K area. And this is going to be the fourth retest on the weekly. So if we pump up here again, I'm going to view this as our fourth retest. And why do I view this next test as a fourth retest when I view this as one combined retest? Well, it's quite simple. You're not seeing enough space and time between this test and this test. Here, however, you're getting a rounded retest. So this will be the fourth retest. And if you have a fourth retest on a high time frame level like the weekly, in my opinion, it has a high probability of actually breaking out here. If, however, we do not break out here, we are most likely going to get a full range resolution. Like, I'm talking like this is absolutely true, right? And it's obviously not. Anything can happen, but in my years as a trader, I've seen some things that's going to work out with high probability. And when you get a fourth retest of a high time frame resistance like this, it usually breaks out. And if it doesn't break out, this is probably going to be the start of a continuation of the weekly trend to the downside. Right? Hopefully I made that very clear, because in my head it's not really clear, but hopefully it's way clearer for you guys. Sometimes, like, you're thinking about something and you're trying to express it in words, and it's just like, I'm a visual learner and I'm a visual trader, so sometimes I'll look at a chart and I say that, all right, this is a good, I'm gonna buy here, this is a good setup. But it's not it's not always as easy for me to actually explain why it is a good setup. But on Bitcoin, on the weekly, it's very clear. The problem here, though, is that if you're gonna base your trading on the weekly time frame or the daily time frame, obviously you're not gonna get as many trades. The good thing, though, is that if you enter the new weekly trend in the beginning, what's up, man? If you enter the weekly trend in the beginning, you're in for a wild ride, right? So if you look at every weekly trend for Bitcoin, we're gonna take a look at BTC USD on Bitstamp, because that's where we have this is a couple of trend lines I've drawn when I'm trying to figure out if we can apply the the vibration law of vibration signatures to BTC chart, and I can't really figure out honestly. All right, so let's go back and the weekly trends, right? All right, so we have a weekly trend starting here and it's ending here. It's starting here and it's ending here, starting here, ending here, starting here, and maybe ending here, right? We don't know. Maybe this was the start of a weekly uptrend. Well, well, obviously this is up here, right? Whenever Bitcoin starts a new weekly trend, you get some quite powerful moves, right? So here you had, let's say you bought, but you broke out here, you had a retest right here, so you got in right here with a stop below that level. Would have been in for a quite a nice trade, a 500 casual % trade, just like that, in a couple of weeks, right? So not a couple of weeks, but you know what I mean, like it's not that huge time, right? So that's a pretty good trend, right? And if you were to get in on the bearish trend, which you could argue started, let's just say it started around this area, right? You might have gotten in, like, you got a powerful, the smart traders got in here, right? And probably sold when we started getting this ranging action here. So, a minus 75%, I would say. On leverage, that would be pretty crazy short, right? And the next uptrend started probably enter around this area when you had breakout out of this consolidation area right here, so up here, and you would probably exit around this area, so 175%, right? So we're talking about quite big numbers here, quite big numbers whenever Bitcoin starts a new weekly trend. So we really got to be mindful of what's possible for Bitcoin here. So if we start a new trend here, a new weekly trend, how might that look? Like, where do we have the resistance level above? Like, where do we want to enter? How do we want to enter? And what levels do we want to take profits at? Well, obviously, we have a couple of levels here. We have this one, got this one up here, probably that one because it's right in the middle of these two, and it's a I like this reaction here on the weekly and of these two, so it kind of makes sense, right? And you should probably view this as some kind of resistance take profit area, right? So you might get a breakout here, right? You're gonna break out of the 10.5k. You open and close a weekly above this level. Now the weekly uptrend is confirmed. Well, it's not really confirmed, but it's going to be confirmed when you have a confirmed bounce, right? So here you have a rounded bottom on the weekly. Now you might enter, let's say you enter here when you have a confirmed bounce. You're gonna put your stop below that confirmed bounce, and well, obviously this one probably gonna see a pump up to this first level here, and I would probably take profits, you know, somewhere up in this region. Let's say you take your first take profit should be at 2R, but I do think like if we start a new weekly trend, we will at least hit 14k for a good 30% move. But really, what I'm looking for is a move to all-time high if we start a new weekly uptrend. So if we start a weekly uptrend, we would probably see a 75 to 100% move for Bitcoin. I mean, to me, it kind of makes sense looking at past price action, but that's if we get the breakout, right? It's not really accurate to keep, to talk about that right now, and we still have the whole short LC to take out here. So it's just a lot of resistance on the way up, but I do think if we start a new weekly uptrend, we will hit 20k. All right, so let's go down into the lower time frames and take a look at the. I think I covered the daily. Yeah, I think I covered the daily with the breakout. Now let's take a look at the 4-hour where we started off. So we're gonna take a look at the 4-hour. Now you have the bigger picture, the weekly picture. You have the daily picture. So to sum it up here, you have the weekly. For the weekly, we have 10.5k, which is very, very important level to break above for the bull case, right? And below that, we have, well, obviously, that's the important level on the weekly. For the downside, it's really the daily chart that's interesting. So on a daily chart, you have 10.5k that needs to break to the upside, and you have 8.5 to 8.6 that needs to break to the downside for the bear market to continue. And that's also a very good reason for why the range low is so important. If we fail to hold range low, we have a confirmed bearish market structure on the daily. So if we lose this range low area, which is the 8.5 to 8.6, we're fucked, right? That's just it, right? We're probably gonna head much lower, and it's not surprising because the weekly trend is down, and the trend is your friend, and the trend is your friend until the end of the trend, and basically until the trend is not your friend anymore, right? That's gonna make sense, right? So let's look at the 4-hour here. Now, let's just ignore everything we talked about on the daily and the weekly, because this is about the 4-hour, right? And we need to take into account the weekly trend is down, we're at high time frame resistance, we're trading on a daily, and we're also trading inside this 4-hour trend range. All right, so now let's talk about this right here. So here we have a low, we have a higher high, and I actually long this confirmed bounce, but that didn't really work out that well, right? Now we're creating a new uptrend on the 4-hour with higher lows and higher highs. But really what we need to see for Bitcoin to start a move to the upside is we need to reclaim this area, because this is the area that broke this uptrend. This uptrend was broken when this level failed to hold as support, and it's now holding as resistance. So we need to see this level get reclaimed. So ignore this range for the upside, but for the downside, this range is important, because this range low, this support right here, which lines? Which lines exactly do you want me to show? Alright, so range low, important. Range high, not as important. We got more resistance on the way up than we have support on the way down. Which makes me believe that because the ranges, yeah, absolutely. So you mean which high and which low I'm using? So I'm gonna show you what tool I'm using. I'm using the Fibonacci tool. You know what? I'm just gonna end the recording here because I think I'm still gonna be live, obviously, but I'm just gonna